Hiding in the bushes, Go Kwang watched everything go down, and honestly, he didn't know whether to admire Lin Tian or just feel miserable about himself. The guy's stamina was on another level, and Go Kwang couldn't help but think, what the hell is this shit? How is he even human? And yeah, that thought didn't help. It only made things worse for him. A loud, miserable scream broke the quiet. Go Kwang ended up collapsing right there, crying like he'd just lost the most important thing in his life. Total meltdown. By the next morning, the Empire's palace felt eerily quiet. The place had already changed hands, and everything carried this heavy, tense vibe. Lin Tian sat casually on the throne, looking completely at ease. He told Alice and the matron to take people with them and head out to nearby towns, spreading word about the new rule. He made it clear that if only nobles delivered the message, regular people wouldn't trust a single word. From his point of view, keeping an empire running wasn't just about weapons and force. It was about getting people to accept what was happening. He basically saw it like this: fear might work at the start, but acceptance is what lasts. To figure out what came next, Lin Tian decided to use the system's life simulation feature. He wanted to see how this Goblin Empire would actually play out. A system notification popped up right away, summarizing things like it was reading a story back to him. It explained that after everything he'd done, destroying the Great Tomb, wiping out the church, and taking over the Lion Empire, the Goblin Kingdom was now officially established. It also mentioned that the matron had already started spreading terms for peaceful coexistence between goblins and humans. Surprisingly, that part was working really well. But then things took a turn. By the fourth day, 3 human kingdoms, the Sword Kingdom, the 3-Leaf Kingdom, and the 4-Leaf Kingdom, joined forces and launched a full attack on the city. Lin Tian raised a brow at that. He didn't expect them to move that fast or work together so smoothly. The system then gave him 3 options, laying them out clearly. Fight head-on and gain a big reward. Shut the gates and try to talk things out for a smaller gain. Or just give up and run if things went south. Lin Tian didn't hesitate much. He figured he might as well test things properly, so he chose to fight in the simulation and see what the enemy was really capable of. The result? Yeah, it wasn't pretty. The system described how he had confidently opened the gates and faced the enemy head-on. But even with skill and effort, it didn't matter. The enemy force was massive, hundreds of thousands strong. Even after taking down tens of thousands of soldiers, his entire army was eventually wiped out. Just like that, the newly built Goblin Empire collapsed. The system wrapped it up bluntly, against a determined and ruthless enemy. He didn't even have room to breathe. The final score? 20 out of 100. Not great. Lin Tian leaned back, taking it all in. He understood now that with 3 empires working together, there were bound to be some seriously strong fighters on their side. Regular goblin soldiers couldn't compete, and even someone like Alice might struggle against the top human elite. So yeah, this wasn't something he could fix with small adjustments. He needed something big, something powerful enough to flip the entire situation. That's when he set his sights on the ancient dragon clan. From his point of view, if the game was already stacked against him, then there was no point playing fair. A smart player doesn't just move pieces, he changes the whole board. Over in the Sword Kingdom, things were getting intense. Preparations for what they called the biggest crusade ever were in full swing, and the whole place felt like it was about to explode with energy. That night, a huge banquet was held. The 3 kings showed up, along with all the top figures. It was loud, flashy, and packed with power. Among them, Sil quietly stood out. She looked stunning, almost unreal, calmly reading her book like none of the noise mattered. People kept sneaking glances at her, whispering to each other. Beside her, Sylph carried herself with effortless elegance, like she belonged above everyone else there. Meanwhile, Gilbert and the other king named Gilbert weren't even trying to hide where their eyes were going. They kept staring at the maids with shameless interest, acting like they'd forgotten where they were. Then there was Sylph, the Sword King's covenant spirit. Her beauty really lived up to the rumors. People couldn't help but compare, thinking human women just didn't come close. There was something about her that felt pure but also dangerously captivating. One of the Gilberts kept staring at her without holding back at all, and yeah, his intentions were obvious. King Edward didn't like that one bit. He slammed his hand on the table and told them straight up to show some respect toward his covenant spirit. Sylph, though, didn't seem bothered. She calmly told them to stop wasting time and focus on what actually mattered, destroying the monsters and taking back the Lion Empire. One of the Gilberts just smiled and played along, saying of course they would. But then he casually brought up how she had said she hated the monsters in the Great Tomb, and since they had already dealt with the ones in the Lion Empire, he wondered what kind of reward they'd get. Sylph looked at him and simply asked what he wanted. Her eyes made it clear she already knew he wasn't asking something simple. The Fat King, Gilbert, started making crude suggestions, treating the whole thing like some kind of joke. Edward had enough. He cut in, clearly angry, and told them to stop. His patience hit its limit, and he slammed the table so hard it broke apart. The two kings just laughed it off, acting like it was all a joke. They waved it away, saying the women present were already more than enough, and tried to shift the mood back to drinking and planning the next day's attack. The banquet ended on an awkward note. Edward walked off, not realizing what was already being planned behind his back. Not long after, both Gilberts secretly sent out magical messages. They were already plotting to take Edward out during the battle, and claim Sylph for themselves. Because honestly, the most dangerous enemy isn't the one standing in front of you, it's the one smiling beside you while hiding a blade. Back at the battlefield, things looked completely different. Veronica was chained up and hung high in the air like a display. She kept shouting, demanding to be let down, but no one listened. She was being used as a clear message, to provoke the enemy and show off the goblin army's strength to the massive human force approaching. Lin Tian stood on the city walls with his commanders, calmly looking down at the endless sea of soldiers below. There were hundreds of thousands of them, stretching out as far as the eye could see. Down below, the human commanders were confused. Their reports said Veronica had taken over the Lion Empire. So why were goblins in control now? One of the subordinates explained that the previous battle had been so overwhelming, they could only watch from far away. They just assumed Veronica had won. One of the Gilberts started thinking back, and said he might have seen this before. He suspected the leader up there was the same goblin who caused trouble in a small town a year ago. He didn't expect that small group to grow this fast. With things getting unclear, King Edward suggested they pause and rethink their strategy. But Gilbert wasn't interested in waiting. He was too focused on charging in, and honestly, getting what he wanted from the women around Lin Tian. He pushed to attack immediately without discussion. Up on the wall, Lin Tian activated Hawkeye, sharpening his vision as he carefully observed every detail about the enemy, their movements, their strength, everything. Edward still insisted that rushing in without enough information was a bad move. He ordered Gilbert to pull back. Gilbert just called him a coward and ignored the command. Instead, he started casting a massive spell, world-tier magic, Hell Forest, just to show off and intimidate everyone watching. At the same time, Lin Tian's system quietly revealed something ridiculous. Despite being level 99, that king was dealing with severe kidney problems. Another Gilbert got excited seeing this and laughed loudly before activating his own spell, Extreme Evil Domain. Right then, the sky itself seemed to tear open as a huge black sphere slowly formed above them. And just like that, the entire battlefield felt heavy and dangerous, like something big was about to go down.